Hello, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to City Hall.
Thank you.
A lot of smiling faces today. This is a very exciting moment here at City Hall and a joyous moment. And I think you're getting a first glimpse of what this week is going to be like in New York City. It's going to be a joyous week. It's going to be an exciting week. It's going to be an inspiring week for New Yorkers as we welcome Pope Francis. We're going to kick off this week with a really wonderful group of people. I want to welcome students and faculty and parents of three remarkable Catholic schools on Staten Island: St. Anne's, Holy Rosary, and St. Christopher's. Now, these schools are remarkable because they do a great job educating their children. They're remarkable because each one of them is part of our Pre-K for All effort, and they welcome many four-year-olds over the last 2 weeks to start their educational careers in partnership with the city. They're remarkable schools because these are schools, obviously, where the kids care deeply, the parents care deeply, the teachers care deeply. And they care so deeply that they went out of their way to really think about the meaning of Pope Francis's visit. The students at these schools cared deeply that His Holiness was going to be here with us. And so they were so excited about the upcoming visit that at one of the schools, they prepared for the Pope's visit by having a visit from his likeness, a quote-unquote paper Pope, a life-size cardboard likeness of His Holiness. And through the likeness, they used the opportunity to teach and to think together about Pope Francis's extraordinary message of compassion and inclusion, and how it is all of our responsibility to help those most vulnerable among us. They also learned in the process, these children learned that once upon a time, Pope Francis grew up in Argentina and was a child like them, with a whole life of possibilities before him. He did not know then that he would become the strongest moral voice on this planet. He didn't know that that was his destiny. So what an extraordinary thing for these young people to think of a young person just like them who has reached this extremely important and powerful level of leadership in our world. So the students got to meet the paper Pope last week. It was a momentous day for them and a symbol of how extraordinary the Pope's visit would be. Well, when I heard about it and my team heard about it, we said we have to do something better. We have to bring them face to face with the real thing. So we will be giving these children tickets to Pope Francis's Central Park procession so they can experience this amazing moment firsthand. And they can really have the experience of seeing this Pope and all he stands for. I want to thank the folks who made this special day possible for these children and for their families. First of all, I want to thank a man who's doing so much to bring these events together so effectively, Michael Paul Carey, the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Citywide Events. I want to thank him for his great work. I want to thank Diana Gatto from the Archdiocese of New York, and the principals from the three schools. Now, if I say your name wrong, correct me. Catherine Ilbella? Falbella, I'm sorry, I put in an E, Falbella. Ann Major? Yes. So Catherine is from St. Christopher, Ann Major from Holy Rosary, and Bernadette, do you say it Fici or Fici? Fici, from St. Anne's. I welcome all of you and thank you for all you've done to prepare the children for this extraordinary week. Now, the Pope is using his voice, his moral authority, to get across a message the whole world needs. And I think he has come around at a moment in our history where it was particularly necessary. He's calling for global economic justice, global environmental justice. He's calling for the changes we need to protect our earth and to treat all people with compassion and dignity. He's talked about how inequality undermines societies all around the world. He's talked about our common humanity, particularly in the context of crises related to immigration all over the world. He's called on world leaders. He's held world leaders to task, whether it's mayors or heads of state, to be more inclusive, to respect all people equally. And in this, he is not only, in my view, the most powerful moral voice in the world today, but he's obviously faithful to the Christian teachings that we've known for generations, teachings which clearly and compassionately instruct all of us to lift up the poor, to help those in need, to help those who suffer. I firmly believe in the vision that the Pope has put forward. He's calling for action, and that's one of the most compelling and powerful things. He's calling for action. He's demanding of all of us, and it doesn't matter if we're Catholics or Christians or people of other faiths or anyone. He's calling on all of us to recognize our common humanity and to act in accordance with it. We try here humbly in New York City to address the inequalities of our society in many ways, and I've been inspired by the words and the actions of Pope Francis throughout. We are grateful for the extraordinary partnership we have with the Archdiocese and equally with the Diocese of Brooklyn. The ways we're working together, whether it's pre-K and after school or affordable housing, or working through Catholic charities to help people in need, and certainly the amazing partnership around this visit. Together, we're doing a lot to reach everyday New Yorkers in every neighborhood, and it's a powerful partnership for this city. There'll be 80,000 people in Central Park on Friday, and you'll be among them. 80,000 people waiting to see the Pope and to, in solidarity with him, celebrate our common humanity and celebrate his message. And the memories of this visit, I know this, the memories of this visit will be passed on for generations. So I want to say to all the children here today, even though you're just starting out your lives, you will be telling this story to your children and to your grandchildren about how you saw Pope Francis at this amazing moment in history. You're going to tell your children and grandchildren, I was there. I saw him with my own eyes. It's going to be a great experience, an experience you will treasure. And I know you'll let His Holiness know how much we appreciate him being here. So I assume you know how to applaud and cheer. You've been practicing that in school. And you're going to represent all of us, too. You're going to represent people all over the city, all our families, all our schools, all our neighborhoods. You will represent Staten Island. You'll represent the whole city of New York. And we're so proud that you're going to be there. Let me say a few words in Spanish. La ciudad de Nueva York dará un calurosa bienvenida al Papa Francisco esta semana. Todos hemos escuchado su poderoso mensaje de justicia económica, derechos para los inmigrantes y acción para el cambio climático. Por eso, me complace dar a estos estudiantes de Staten Island boletos para la procesión que tendremos este viernes. La ciudad y la iglesia han trabajado mucho para darles a la mayor cantidad de gente posible la oportunidad de ver al Papa en la procesión de Central Park. Now, we're going to give these young people an opportunity to exercise their cheering skills. So this is going to be a little warm-up for when you see His Holiness. I'm going to bring forward a young woman who exemplifies everything good about New York City. And she exemplifies the spirit, the energy, and strength that we're so proud of as New Yorkers. Isabella Asierno is a student at St. Christopher's. Isabella has faced challenges, battling recurring brain tumors. But that has not stopped Isabella. She is a top-level student. She is a fierce competitor on the basketball court, and she is a loving member of her family. So we're so especially happy to welcome Isabella, and now I'd like all of the children here to cheer her on right now. Isabella.
I just wanted to thank Mayor de Blasio for everything that he's done, for watching our videos and giving us the opportunity to come here to City Hall. It really means a lot. And I also wanted to thank him for giving us the opportunity to see Pope Francis. It's really amazing, and it really is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So he's such an inspiration to all of us at all the Catholic schools in Staten Island and everywhere. So thank you again.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. And she's very poised. Impressive. Just this is the whole press corps, all the cameras. Doesn't bother you one bit. Doesn't bother you one bit. Let's see how this next guy does. He's a little shyer. We've had a partnership in so many levels working for the people of Staten Island, and I want to thank Borough President Jimmy Otto for all the work we've done together. And I know he personally feels the deep feeling, the deep intensity of what this week will mean for the people of Staten Island and what it'll mean for him, because this guy is all heart. The Borough President of Staten Island, Jimmy Otto. Do it.
Isabel, let me just begin by saying we are so very proud of you for your courage and your strength. It's not easy, by the way, standing up here. I've seen adults turn into quivering masses of goo with the heat of these lights. So well done. And Mr. Mayor, I'm here as a proud Staten Islander today. I'm also here as a proud individual who had 18 years of Catholic education, including 4 of which from our friend the Jesuits. In fact, I found a tie that closely resembles the ties I used to wear as a student at St. Dorothy's. And lest you think, boys and girls, that I am too old to have ever gone to St. Dorothy's, and the mayor loves when I bring visual aids.
Okay, this is going to be controversial.
Who is this good-looking young man, right?
Hold it up for the camera.
Can you see the resemblance?
Hold it up.
Now, the question you must be asking is, where'd the hair go? But could someone in this business to have been so saintly? But I'm proud of the Catholic education. And
a young man of so much promise once.
Yeah. And thank you to the teachers and the principals for everything that you do in creating the future leaders of this city. And boys and girls, I think when you visit with the Pope, that's going to be memorable. But I hope this trip to City Hall is memorable as well. And maybe one day one of you boys or girls comes back as a council member or as the mayor of the city of New York. And the lesson I think that we want to impart to you is that we have to live by the rules that the Pope sets out every day. And that's can be whittled down simply to caring about people and doing unto others. So thank you so much for what you guys do. Thank you for making me such a proud Staten Islander today. Enjoy, and God bless.
Thank you so much. Let's take first questions about this auspicious announcement and about the week ahead with His Holiness, and then we'll take other topics as well. Yes, Anna.
Where is the cutout? Did you guys bring it?
Well, now that would have been logical, wouldn't it? I think you didn't bring it, did you? Okay.
He's at home in my office.
Okay, we will make sure you get access to the cutout. Yes.
Question for Isabella. Can you describe what it is about Pope Francis that you find so inspiring?
Pope Francis is by far my favorite pope. I think that he lives as like all the popes, but he really lives as Jesus did. That he follows like Jesus did, that he doesn't wear red because he feels like he's not like the king. So he does that. And his chair also, he doesn't sit in the throne chair that's also red. He sits in a wooden chair because Jesus was a carpenter. So I feel like he really is a kind and sweet man, and he really follows the example of Jesus. So.
Beautifully said, yes. I think you may be the one that comes back as mayor. You heard it here first. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, a security-related question for the Pope's visit. Is there any discussion to, when the
shut down any portions of the subway system while he's here, particularly anything under Madison Square Garden and Penn Station while he's delivering Mass?
Well, again, as you know, we're working with the Secret Service. They're the lead on this, and very, very close cooperation with the Secret Service and the FBI, and obviously NYPD is doing an extraordinary job preparing. So I would refer that question to the Secret Service and the NYPD. But as I said the other day, I think having seen a lot of the preparations in action, I think they're extraordinary. I think we are absolutely ready. But I also would say to all my fellow New Yorkers, of course there's going to be some delays. Of course there will be some inconveniences. It's absolutely worth it for such an amazing and historical moment. And our security professionals may make decisions from time to time for some temporary shutdowns. We should respect that those are the decisions of the very best security professionals there are. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, will you personally meet the Pope?
I am absolutely and humbly looking forward to that. And we're still working on the specific schedule, but I look forward to participating for sure.
Would it be like dining with him, or would it be at an event?
I think he has a very busy schedule and doesn't really have a lot of time for dining with people. But whatever it is, it will be a tremendous honor and it will be inspiring. I just look forward to being a part of his visit in any way I can. Yes?
Is there any official gift that you're planning to give him on behalf of the city, a key or something else?
I'm going to say this. We're going to all say everything we have to say at the right time and right place, but I also want to say this Pope has made very clear that he's less interested in material things. And I think as we think about how to honor him, we want to make sure we do so in a way that's consistent with his values. Anybody else on this topic of the visit?
Also, there was a report about impersonating New York police officers by terrorists. Any feelings about how that may be a concern?
Again, the security preparations are absolutely outstanding, led by the Secret Service. The news that we offered the other day when we were doing the security briefing, there's no specific incredible threat against the Pope, thank God. We think things are going very, very well. But there's going to be a lot of vigilance, a lot of measures in place, as we like to say, a lot of measures you will see and a lot of measures you won't see. And that means things are being done right. But I feel very good about where we stand right now. Yes?
I know the Pope has a pretty packed schedule when he's going to be here, but are there any things in New York or about the city that you're particularly excited for him to see or hope he gets a chance to see? It's his first visit here.
Yes, I think as is so consistent with his values and his love of all people, the fact that he's going to East Harlem and he's going to spend time with immigrants who make this city great. I mean, what could be more quintessentially New York than spending time with today's immigrants, celebrating this ultimate city of immigrants? And I keep saying to people, we're arguably the most successful city on the earth. And I'm not just measuring that in the wealth we have here or the tall buildings, but in terms of the human success stories. And the fact that we've been a city of immigrants since the very beginning, and generation after generation replenishes us, and a city that includes every kind of people in much more harmony than is achieved in many parts of the world. I'm glad he's going to experience that in East Harlem. I can't think of anything more important for someone to see and experience about New York City. And he obviously will use the occasion to remind all of us that we have to embrace our common humanity. There's a raging debate on immigration in this country and around the world, obviously in Europe and many other places. And I think Pope Francis's voice is cutting through all of this and saying, wait a minute, these are human beings just like our forebears sought freedom or sought a better way of life or the opportunity to feed their families. That's what people are doing today. And it would be hypocritical to not appreciate that each and every generation faces these struggles. So I think he's going to see the ultimate New York experience, but also take the opportunity to teach more deeply his lesson to us all. Yes?
Mayor, I want to ask you, when you first knew about Pope Francis coming to New York, what was the first thought that came into your mind?
That we are the center of the world. I think I can say that humbly. And his voice is the most important voice on this earth, and it's a match made in heaven. We need to hear his voice here, and it will only make more powerful his message to the world. Yes?
While he was in Cuba, the Pope met with Raul and Fidel Castro. I was wondering what your thoughts are on his political views, especially since a lot of Republican presidential candidates have sort of criticize him for having political views.
I had a difference yesterday with Senator Rubio on this point. I don't understand how anyone can suggest that the Pope speaking with constant reference to Scripture is expressing quote-unquote political views. It's quite clear to me that everything he talks about is consistent with Christian teachings. And as I said, Senator Rubio needs to go back and reread the Sermon on the Mount. Everything that the Pope refers to in terms of economic fairness and embrace of immigrants, it all can be found right there in a message that's 2,000 years old. So I think that it is an uncomfortable moment for folks who are anti-immigrant or who don't believe in economic fairness, because we have the number one moral voice on the earth sounding those themes in such an uncompromising moment. But let's not perform revisionism. He is not offering personal political views. He is reflecting the values of his religion. Yes?
In terms of preparations, you've talked about security a little bit for these prepared events. He's known to make surprises. Are you prepared?
Yes, he is.
Are you prepared for that?
Yes, while I was at the Vatican, again, this is a pope unlike any other. Isabella is right. He is unique and extraordinary. And I was at the Vatican because he called mayors from all over the world to the Vatican to talk about how we could do more to address climate change. So he's putting his words into action. He's putting his teachings into action by calling people to account. But while I was there, I met with the head of Vatican security, Domenico Gianni. And, it was funny. He wanted to explain to me that very fact. And I said, Signor Gianni, it's quite well known this Pope has a penchant for being spontaneous and for wanting to connect with people. So everyone understands. The Secret Service understands, the FBI understands, the NYPD understands. Our job is to protect him as we know best, and he will make his own decisions. And as I like to say, referencing a great advertisement from my youth, he answers to a higher authority. So whatever he chooses to do, we will do our very best to accommodate and continue to protect him throughout. Yes?
You've got a lot going on in the city this week.
That is a true statement. 170 heads of state during the General Assembly, more than we've ever had before.
Is this, a lot of people have asked questions about security perhaps, but I mean, this is a huge drain on security in the city.
I have to tell you, I don't for a moment misunderstand that question or think it's wrong to say it that way. But I have a different perspective. First of all, I get security briefings, so I have a particular insight that gives me. When you see the work that has been done for months and months to prepare, and the sheer capacity of the NYPD, and then the way the partnership with the FBI and the Secret Service has grown in recent years, I am absolutely confident. And I have been in the discussions, been in the meetings. No one is nervous. Everyone is focused. They have the resources they need. They have the equipment, the personnel. I think there's a great deal of confidence. And no one's underestimating that this is something we've never experienced before, and we all understand that. But there's a tremendous can-do attitude in the Secret Service, FBI, and NYPD, and we're confident. Yes?
Any better sense yet on what the papal visit is going to cost the city?
No, we probably won't know until we are in the middle of it or even at the end of it. But I think every dollar will be worth it. I think it'll be an inspiring and uplifting moment for the city. I think it means so much. And again, there's no question it means so much to millions of Catholics in and around this city. But it means so much to millions of people who happen not to be Catholic, too. So I think it's going to just be an uplifting moment and worth the investment. Yes?
Mr. Mayor, this visit is generating unprecedented street closings in Manhattan, in Midtown, and, ripple effects as well. How concerned are you about how people and or vehicles are going to get around?
We're talking about the time His Holiness is on the ground is, give or take 24 hours. And I think we can handle a day of inconvenience to have the leader of a global religion with us preaching a message of inclusion and understanding. I think we can handle it. Again, we'll make every effort to keep things moving. But I think New Yorkers are resilient. We certainly are used to UN Week every year. I think we'll be fine in the end.
Mayor, the head of NJ Transit said that this is one of those weeks where people might just consider staying at home, and I'm wondering if you think that's right.
I would say it's a week to use mass transit to the maximum extent possible, or walk when you can walk if you're in Midtown, and certainly understand that in Midtown in specific, there's going to be some challenges. But again, most of that is consistent with previous UN General Assembly weeks. For the time that His Holiness is here, from late Thursday through Friday, there will be, of course, some unusual street closures, et cetera. But I think people can navigate that. I think they can navigate with mass transit. I think they can navigate by walking where they are able to. If someone has the option to stay home and they can work from home, that's a great choice too. But again, I often think we worry a little more about these special events than we need to. The city always keeps going. Businesses will be open. The government will be open and functioning. Everything's going to go on as normal. There'll be an epicenter of activity in Midtown where there'll be some special activities, but otherwise everything is going to go on as normal. Yes?
Can you give us a sense of how close these children will be able to be? Will they be on bleachers? Will they be standing behind a rope?
Michael, would you like to come over? Let's introduce you to the world, Michael. Michael Paul Carey is running the City Office of Special Events, that citywide events that's doing this great work.
They will be around a perimeter, so it's along with the sort of 80,000 other folks that are there. Whenever they get there, it's sort of first come, first serve in the space throughout the park. So
the Pope is coming south, essentially, in the park. You're going to have people on each side. These kids will be yards, hundreds of yards away.
It's hard to say because there's a security perimeter between him and anyone, but that I leave up to the Secret Service. But they will have an amazing view, and as the mayor said, we're all very excited, and 80,000 other people are excited too. So
they'll have a good view. that Michael hit the nail on the head. They will definitely have a good view, and they'll feel the moment and the excitement. And I don't doubt. Now, here's the question for these very diligent young people. Now, this may mean getting up. No, it's not early in the morning. That's not right. Michael, what time are we talking about?
Doors open at 11.
11. So you don't have to get up early in the morning, but you do have to get there and wait in line a while and be there. Are you ready? Are you ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready? Yes. I don't hear the kind of enthusiasm I'm looking for. Are you ready? Yes. I think the principals need to go and have a little session on enthusiasm. One more time. Are you ready? Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Third time's a charm. Any other questions on topic? On topic. Going once. Going twice. Do we want to? We're going to go to. Wait, on topic? I'm sorry. Yes.
You haven't laid out. I know you can't get into specific details on all the plans, but besides road closures, what can people expect to see in terms of security and planning for this?
Some of the things we talked about, and Michael, you can add if I leave anything out. Obviously, if you're going to one of the events, have a valid government ID with you, because that's our identity. We're going to be sticklers about that. If people don't have the ID, that's a challenge. And expect, if you're going to an event, there will be lines and there'll be delays getting in. Do you want to add to that?
As sort of as the mayor had indicated, so everyone, everything is ticketed. So as long as you make sure you have your ticket, a valid ID, and as we say often, plan ahead, get there early, enough time to get through the security check, and there'll be a little bit of waiting, but we're all prepared for it.
Okay. Yes.
On that note, do all these kids have IDs? I mean, they're a little young for government-issued IDs.
So hopefully that adult has their ID as well. And before anyone asks the question, of course, we're taking the municipal ID as an ID as well.
Yes, we are. Okay, on this topic, going once, going twice. Okay, do we want the children to be someplace better than the Blue Room now? Okay, congratulations, guys. Well done. Well done. You did great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The tickets. Thank you, Michael. Okay, and they're beautiful tickets, too. Okay, thank you, Marcia. A little staging help there. Okay, Isabella, step forward. Let's give Isabella first.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well deserved. All right, let's get a line going first right here. All right. Kicking off.
Down, take care of it down.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. There you go. Take care, brother. Okay. Hold on one second. We're gonna. Okay. All right, we are now transitioning. The doors are closing. Off topic. Off topic. Emily.
Mayor de Blasio, I understand that you'll be meeting with James Blake today, along with the commissioner. What are you hoping to express to him? What do you expect from the meeting?
I'm certainly going to let him know how much we are making fundamental reforms in the relationship between police and community, that we are retraining our entire patrol force, which has never been done before, to focus on bettering the relationship between police and community and reducing any unnecessary use of force. And that I'm going to let him know how confident I am, and Commissioner Bratton is, that this is going to make a huge impact. We're very, very optimistic about where things are going in the city in the relationship between police and community. And the fact that we've had the lowest number of civilian complaints to the CCRB in almost 15 years in the last report by the CCRB is real evidence that this new approach is starting to work. Yes?
Mr. Mayor, if this was not James Blake, would you be meeting with just a regular citizen if this?
I talked to a lot of regular citizens. Obviously, he's a prominent person, and this was a particular incident. But the bottom line here is the changes were already moving, and that's what I want to explain to him and certainly to all New Yorkers. We don't want to see this kind of thing happen. We want to see a better relationship between police and community. We want to see force used only in the degree necessary. And that effort has been underway for the last year. So I'm very proud of the changes we're making, and that's what we're going to explain to Mr. Blake.
Mayor, I wanted to get your reaction to something presidential candidate Ben Carson said recently, that the United States should not elect a Muslim president.
Well, it's so pertinent to the discussion we just had because obviously I come from a Catholic family, and the stories that were told in my family of the bias against John F. Kennedy when he ran for president, the overt bias, the overt discussion in this country about whether JFK would be more loyal to the Pope than to the people of the United States. That went on for months and months in 1959, 1960. And he was a decorated war hero and a former sailor in the United States Navy. This is a problem we faced before, and it's time to face it down. Mr. Carson's absolutely wrong. He should apologize to Muslim Americans. Clearly, we have millions of Muslim Americans who are loyal American citizens who contribute to our society all the time, who, of course, are as qualified to serve us as anyone else. As Commissioner Bratton has said, we have about 900 Muslim American members of the NYPD protecting us every day. So I don't know if Ben Carson was trying to score cheap points with a conservative base or if he actually believes that. But if he believes it, he doesn't understand what America's about. Anna.
A young woman was killed while biking on Highland Boulevard last week. A boat detached and hit her and another cyclist as they were both biking. There's been a bit of a debate on the island about bike lanes, and I was wondering if you thought that there should be more bike lanes on Staten Island, given this incident and...
I don't know the details of the incident, but I do believe in bike lanes and that they should be well established throughout all 5 boroughs. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, there are a number of homeless people who work for the city, municipal workers, potentially hundreds. Just wondering, besides what you're doing on the homelessness front, is there anything different that you can do in those cases? Is there something you are?
Yeah, well, first of all, we should check that number. I'm not sure that's the accurate number, but we do know there are some people who, obviously there are a number of people who are homeless and working, and we do know that some of them at least work for the city of New York. As I've said, trying to explain to all New Yorkers what we're facing now, this is becoming more and more of an economic problem, meaning People have been displaced from their homes by the high cost of housing, even if they're working. And because wages and benefits in too many places are still not all they should be, it's causing a challenge. So we're going to make sure in every case, particularly with working folks, that we look for every opportunity to get them to permanent housing. With our new programs alone, we've gotten 15,000 people to permanent housing. As you know from the Mayor's Management Report, many others through our previous existing policies got out of shelter. Our job is to get people back on their feet. And for the many, many people who are working, we want to do everything we can to help them become more economically viable. Aaron.
Mr. Mayor, a former New York Jets player, Michelle Faulkner, actually announced a mayoral campaign against you today in Times Square. I'm wondering any reaction to that, if you think it's interesting at all that he's kicking off a campaign so soon, and, obviously he's criticizing your management of the city. So
I've said to you guys before, anyone wants to run, the more the merrier. I feel very good about what I have to say to the people of this city over the next 2 years. We have 177,000 more jobs than we had on January 1st, 2014. We have an affordable housing plan that's on schedule for 200,000 units, enough for 500,000 people, 65,000 plus kids in pre-K, higher test scores in our schools. I have a lot that I'm going to be proud to talk to the people of the city about, and I look forward to a spirited debate. Grace.
Earlier this month, there was a protest outside Trump building on Fifth Avenue, I believe, where some protesters were roughed up by security guards.
By apparently private security that work there, yeah.
Who work for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you saw the video. They're now suing
Yes.
Donald Trump and what you make of their treatment.
I saw it glancingly. I don't know enough to comment on the situation. I mean, obviously, we respect freedom of speech, so I don't know why that happened the way it did, but I just don't know enough about it. Marcia?
Mr. Mayor, this has been a particularly violent weekend in the city. I wonder what you would say to New Yorkers concerned about their perception about the increasing gun crime.
I would say have faith in NYPD. I would say if you look at the facts and the numbers, NYPD continues to drive down crime. We had the safest summer in 20 years. That's a fact. Overall crime down compared to last year. That's a fact. Just in the last week, we all heard about the extraordinary takedown the NYPD achieved working with our federal partners in K2, which is a new and growing challenge. Well, the NYPD and the federal government knocked out a whole ring related to K2 across the 5 boroughs. Major setback for the criminals and a great thing for the people of the city. But the same week, the NYPD broke out, or I should say, took down a heroin ring in Brooklyn, and they took down a gang in the Bronx. Between all of that, dozens and dozens of arrests, a lot of weapons seized, a lot of contraband seized. The NYPD continues to be more and more effective and has better technology even than last year, better training than even last year, and 1,300 more police officers on the way by the end of this year. So I would say have faith that NYPD is becoming more effective all the time.
The incident at the Ingersoll houses, I know the city has spent a lot of time, and up until this weekend, there hasn't been a shooting there.
We're very proud of what the investments at the Ingersoll houses yielded, because we were able to turn around what had been a tough situation and really reduce the crime situation. We're going to continue to do that. Look, from what we know of that one incident, it was a group of criminals confronting a group of criminals. And that doesn't make it any more acceptable, but it does not reflect the overall situation in that development or the success of applying additional police resources in some of the most needy areas. We believe in that strategy fundamentally, and we're going to keep doing it.
Earlier this month, you held a teletown hall with Chancellor Carmen Farina, the school's chancellor. What are your thoughts about how that went?
I loved it. We had, I think, over 5,000 parents who participated. We took 21 questions. And what was so striking was, parents are looking to understand how they can best serve their kids. A lot of the questions were to understand what's going on with our curriculum, what role parents should play in their schools and in their child's education. Parents asked tough questions. I mean, I was a school board member in Brooklyn long ago. I remember, parents are going to be tough critics. They're going to hold us accountable, as they should. And it was a great dialogue, and I look forward to a lot more of them, because I want the parents of this city to hear directly from me and directly from Carmen Farina about the things that we're doing to improve the schools. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.